In July 2024, a robot the size of a car, 140 million miles from Earth, rolled up to an unremarkable reddish rock and found what might be the most compelling sign of ancient life ever discovered on Mars. Tiny pale spots, ringed in black, scattered across the stone like the markings on a leopard. On Earth, patterns like these are often left behind by microbes. And here's the part nobody tells you. We may have already found the answer to "Are we alone?" And right now, we can't bring it home. This is the story of the rock called Cheyava Falls. What's hiding in it? Why scientists are so careful about it? And the quiet crisis that could leave the biggest discovery in human history sealed in a tube on another planet. Welcome to the cold beyond. Our setting is Jezero Crater, a 28-mile-wide basin that, billions of years ago, was a lake fed by a river. If you want to look for ancient life on Mars, an old river delta is almost the perfect address. NASA's Perseverance rover has explored it since 2021. In the summer of 2024, along an ancient channel called Cheyava Falls, it found an arrowhead-shaped rock about a meter wide. NASA named it Cheyava Falls. Three things made scientists sit up. First, organic molecules, carbon-based compounds. The chemical building blocks of life as we know it. Organics aren't proof of life. They can form without it. But you can't have life without them. Second, veins of calcium sulfate running through the rock, mineral deposits left by flowing water. And third, the strangest part, those leopard spots. Dozens of millimeter-sized pale blotches, each ringed by a dark border. When NASA's instruments looked closer, the dark rims were rich in iron and phosphate and held two specific minerals, an iron phosphate called vivianite and an iron sulfide called greyjate. Why does that matter? Because on Earth, reactions like these, where chemistry shifts between bands of color, are a known energy source for microbes. They eat reactions like this for a living. Scientists call these spots reaction fronts, and finding them in a watery, organic-rich Martian mudstone is exactly what you'd hope to see if something once lived here. Now, here's where this channel does something a lot of the headlines didn't. We pump the brakes. None of this is proof of life. Every one of those features can also form without biology. Vivianite and greyjate can form through ordinary chemistry. Reaction fronts happen in dead rock all the time. But here's the update most people mistide. In September 2025, after more than a year of analysis, NASA formally designated this a potential biosignature, and the team published a peer-reviewed study in the journal Nature, reporting that the obvious non-biological explanations don't comfortably fit the chemistry. In other words, the boring answers are getting harder to defend. And yet, this still is not proof. A potential biosignature is a feature that could be biological, confirming it needs far more than any rover can do. The honest summary, it's the clearest hint we've ever found that Mars may once have hosted life, and it is still not confirmed. So how do you settle it? Not with a rover. Perseverance's instruments are brilliant, but no machine on Mars can definitively tell a fossil microbe from a chemical accident. For that you need Earth, the room-sized electron microscopes, the mass spectrometers, decades of laboratory expertise. So Perseverance, did the only thing it could. It drilled into Cheyava Falls, pulled out a finger-sized core, sealed it in an ultra-clean titanium tube, and set it aside, one of dozens of samples cached for a single purpose: to be flown home. And here, the story turns almost too cruel to believe. The mission to bring those samples back, Mars Sample Return, became one of the most troubled projects in NASA's history. Its cost ballooned toward $11 billion, with samples not arriving until around 2040. An independent review called that unworkable. NASA scrambled for cheaper, faster designs, and then the decision came. In January 2026, the U.S. Congress passed a budget that stripped Mars Sample Return of its funding. After years of planning, the mission to retrieve those samples was effectively canceled. Sit with that. We may have, in a sealed tube on the surface of Mars, the best physical evidence ever collected of whether life exists beyond Earth, and the mission to bring it home has just been canceled. The sample is collected. The science is waiting. And right now, there is no rocket coming to get it. There's a twist on the twist. With NASA's mission canceled, the race to bring Mars home now has only one runner: China. Its Tianwen-3 mission is targeting launch in late 2028 and the return of around 500 grams of Martian material by roughly 2031. It won't collect Perseverance's samples. It'll gather its own. But it's now on track to become the first nation in history to bring a piece of Mars to Earth, and the first to put Martian material under a microscope. Looking for life, the country that found the most compelling clue may not be the one that gets to read it. For now, Cheyava Falls waits, a quiet rock in a dry riverbed, holding what might be a message 4 billion years old. In a language we can only read at home. We found a door. We just haven't figured out how to open it. If you want the honest version of the search for life beyond Earth, the real science behind the headlines, this is the channel for it. This is the cold beyond. The universe is colder, stranger, and closer to an answer than you think. I'll see you in the next one.